have my friend Gopal, who would take it from here. Gopal, please come.
Introduction, and he is into this field from last 10 years, and he is our faculty for many of the courses, right? So without much of introduction, right, I'll ask Sujay to add on a few pointers about him, right? Over to you.
Thank you, Gopal. Yeah, I've been a member of ISACA for like 6 years now, and I've been in the board for the last 4 years. So this is a quick session on continuous vulnerability management. So the idea of this topic is, in fact, Raghu has already covered most of it. Thanks for that. He's covered a very crucial part from that. So we all understand what vulnerabilities are, right? Right. So I don't have to give you a definition for what vulnerability is. But then, can we discuss like what are the vulnerabilities that you as individuals or organizations face? Like, what is a vulnerability for you? What are the vulnerabilities that you get to fix every day, or your adversary is exploiting your organizations? Can you just throw some light on that? Anybody? We are a very small group here, so it can be interactive. Yeah. What are the regular vulnerabilities that you work on, or what is it that you face? Segregation of duties, okay. Like, okay.
So basically, we challenge what we see when somebody leaves the organization, the access is not permanent within the plan.
Okay.
It has to be done.
Access screen. Okay. Anything else? Any technical issues? So these are both like process vulnerabilities as we will address that. Anything else? Right. So this is a quick disclaimer that just says this is my opinion and does not have anything to do with my employer or ISACA Hyderabad chapter. So this is what we will be discussing today. What is vulnerability management? We all know what vulnerability management, but then why do we talk about continuous vulnerability management as a topic? That's the question. Yeah. So the first question is, what is the difference between vulnerability assessment and vulnerability management? So what is it that you understand by vulnerability assessment? Right? Vulnerability assessment is what we understand, what we generally practice is you have a scanner, you run a particular scanner across the network, you identify the missing patches, and then you fix it. Or do you fix it? Is that a part of vulnerability assessment? No, right? Right. Assessment ends there. You have a list of somebody, you call a consultant, you make a list of vulnerabilities, he hands over an Excel sheet and then he leaves. That is all vulnerability assessment. Right. So what vulnerability management does, what do you actually mean by vulnerability management is you need to cover all these activities. You need to have a proper network discovery. Like we discussed, there could be a process issue. It could be vulnerability in your asset. It could be a vulnerability in people. Can we talk about what are the entry points into your network? Like we know we've been discussing about attacks from morning, right? We have statistics. We have a lot of news that we have discussed. Now, what exactly is exploited by an attacker? Is it just a software vulnerability?
Hardware network, basically.
Sorry?
Network.
Yeah, anything else?
It's a hardware. The user can connect anything to.
User can connect, okay, weak configurations, weak policies, procedures, access creep. Somebody has been given access but it does not work, somebody can take advantage of this. So these are all considerations that are required when we talk about vulnerability management, because just patching one software would definitely not fix my vulnerabilities, because there are still other entry points into my application where people can get into my networks, right? So what are all these entry points into your organizations? How many of you have cloud services hosted? How many of you have applications hosted in your networks or for your clients? Most of us have, right? Okay. And then is this application supposed to be, are the vulnerabilities in this application supposed to be fixed as part of your vulnerability management program? How many of you actually consider applications in your vulnerability management program? and not just running a scan on your Windows operating system and network devices and close the items there. Right? Correct. So these are different entry points into your network where attackers can get into. Okay. So for an effective vulnerability management program, you need to consider all these entry points. You need to identify what are the risks for your organization, what are the assets that are exposed, and then you need to find and fix vulnerabilities in all these people, process, and technology. You also heard about client-side attacks, right? You have these phishing attacks and all these things. Why are they successful? Why are the adversaries successful in exploiting these vulnerabilities? How can somebody get into your organization through a phishing mail? Right. You click on an attachment and then you get into the network. But why is the user actually clicking on that?
Because the language the indicates in the images.
Looks genuine. Like, so what is the weakness here that the attacker is exploiting? Right. So we agree that attacker is more skilled than us, and awareness. Correct. So should this awareness be considered as a vulnerability? Lack of awareness?
No, human intelligence has to be considered as also a vulnerability.
Correct. So are we considering this as part of our regular vulnerability management programs? You have it? You have it on a regular basis? Great. So how many organizations actually include this as part of their vulnerability management program? Very few. Trust me, that's like, I don't even need all my fingers to count the organizations to do that, right? So idea is to identify all these entry points into your applications, into your network, into your organizations, and then perform a vulnerability management across all these entry points. And when I talk about vulnerability management, I'm talking about discovering each of these vulnerabilities. I'm talking about scanning, discovering networks, discovering entry points, scanning each of the entry point, could be network devices, and then prioritizing these entry points and vulnerabilities. Now, if I start fixing, because at the end of the day I have to fix it, but should I fix all vulnerabilities? What should be my priority? Business critical assets. So how do you decide what is critical to your business? Value of financial value, right? Right. So it depends on multiple factors again. It could be the value of the content that is hosted on the asset. It could be like in terms of people vulnerabilities, it could be the criticality or importance of that particular individual in terms of your BCP or in terms of.
Predominantly, what will happen is in the risk assessment itself, you will identify all your critical processes and the attached assets to those critical processes.
Correct.
And then you will look into your critical assets linked to those applications, and then you will go ahead with that.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. So I didn't get your names.
Vijay Kumar.
So Vijay Kumar rightly pointed out that we would first perform a proper risk assessment. We will identify what are the assets, what are the different types of assets that are critical to us. We will prioritize them, and then we will create an order according to which we will fix these. Because every control is a cost. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Every control is a cost. If I have to create awareness, that's a cost. I need to spend somebody time, somebody has to stand here and give that awareness. I have to have a control, I have to have a tool that creates awareness, probably a phishing awareness tool, right? So this is all cost. So in order to comply with my financial requirements or limitations, to be clear, I need to prioritize these vulnerabilities, and then based on that, I will remediate. I may have multiple remediations again for each of it, right? We know different methods to address, right? So this is a basic vulnerability management program. This is what we all do. But does this help? Is the question. How many of you have to comply with various regulatory requirements, GDPR, PCI? So what is your experience and how effective do you think is the standard way of doing? This is the only way for us right now. This is how we do vulnerability management. We identify and we fix it. But how effective has this been for your organizations? Are you able to achieve a proper, secure posture for your organizations?
Most of the times it is done
comply with standards is what? Like how do you comply with, or what is the general practice for vulnerability management in your organizations? This is just my opinion, right? It could be different, implementation could be different in different organizations. You may each have your own tools, you may each have your own policies, procedures that focus on different items to do this. So the question is, how effective is the traditional method of vulnerability management? Do we get a full coverage, 100% coverage according to this? So I was just going through some CIS controls, and then control 3 talks about what exactly is continuous vulnerability management. Now people started talking about continuous vulnerability management. So what exactly is continuous vulnerability management? How is it actually different from a regular vulnerability management program that we have in our organizations that we comply with, and that helps us comply with our other regulatory requirements, right? So this is a quick definition of continuous vulnerability management, wherein it says continuously acquire, assess, and take action on new information in order to identify vulnerabilities, remediate, and minimize the window of opportunity for attackers. Pretty long, but it's clear. The only word it adds is continuously acquire. Okay, this is what we do. We acquire data about information, we acquire data about our network, okay? We perform scanning, we take actions, we fix it. But then how do you continuously monitor for these things? What happens in a regular vulnerability scan? You have a tool, you schedule a scan, you run the scan, you take the data out of it, you analyze it, done. Then you move to a next tool, wherein you have patches, you have all the other things that you need to do to fix it. But this tool doesn't do that. It could be any vulnerability management tool, right? So how do you continuously collect this information? Did you get the point that the idea of having a regular vulnerability management program is that you get a picture of the current posture. This is the current posture. Posture when you have run the scan. Not 3 minutes after the scan, not 3 minutes before the scan, during the scan. If you have a service that has been updated after the scan, your security posture has changed. If Microsoft has released a patch for something else, a new software has been installed in your network, your complete security posture has changed. So the idea of having a continuous vulnerability assessment is by default what vendors tell you is they have a periodic scan. Okay, you need to scan like at quarterly or weekly, depending on your security requirements. But the problems with these individual scanners, what are the issues? What do you think are the issues with continuously running these scans?
You cannot. You will miss a lot.
Sorry?
You will miss a lot.
Okay. And so what are we doing? We are continuously running the same scan on the same device every week, every month, every quarter, every 3 hours. This is a huge network bandwidth load on my network, right? So this is not just an impact on my network, this also has a huge impact on my resources. I am literally doing a denial of service on my own resources just to make sure, just to give myself an assurance that I am secure. Like, how viable is that solution for us? Right? Let's just go back to So these are the different steps, these are the different steps that are defined as part of the Control 3, CIS Control 3 to achieve continuous vulnerability management. You can see it talks about, again, automated vulnerability scanning, perform authenticated vulnerability scanning. You're supposed to protect dedicated assessment accounts, deploy automated operating system patches, but this is all what we already do. So how do you achieve these standards? What is the best practice now? How do I reduce the load on my network and still have a continuous view of my security posture? Any ideas on that? Anybody? How many of you have heard of passive vulnerability scanners? You've heard of passive vulnerability scanners? Okay, just for the sake of people who've just joined, we are discussing the vulnerability assessment methods used in organizations. Okay, so we've discussed the risk of having a continuous vulnerability scan. We want to assess the continuous posture of a security posture of a network. How do we do that? Okay, so we're now talking. How many of you have heard of passive vulnerability scanners? Okay, can you give me a quick intro? What do you think is the advantage of using a passive vulnerability scanner?
Usually, the scanning can be done in two ways. When active scanning, how is the passive scanning?
Mhm.
Active scanning mode, you run a tool, you collect the information, and you control the series scoring and find out what are the different vulnerabilities. The passive scanning, something like BDNA, tools like BDNA, where you dump the the information from the assets and then compare their versions against the vulnerabilities, right? And then you have done. Then you can, without actually scanning the system for vulnerabilities, you are collecting information from the system and comparing them with the vulnerability database. So that's how you do passive.
Correct. So, like Anand rightly pointed, active scans are always active. You send a packet, you get a reply, response, and then based on the response, you identify what is the version of the software hosted, and then based on your knowledge or the signatures that you already have, you list down, you identify the potential vulnerabilities. But this always creates additional load on the network. So, in order to have a continuous view of the security posture, you always have to continuously run these scans, increase the load again. So having a passive vulnerability scanner always helps in this, always helps in reducing the network load and have a proper security view, because a passive scanner, let's say, is hosted on a spawn port on a switch, and all network traffic, a copy of all your network traffic is sent to a passive network scanner. Okay, it just looks through this network traffic that is passing through your switch, and then based on that, it does a continuous network discovery, because it can see every time what happens when a system gets into a network. What happens when a new system is turned on in the network? What does it do? It looks for friends, right? It just says hello. So now the scanner can see that hello, and then it knows, yes, there is a new system in my network. But what happens if this was a regular vulnerability scanner? Until and unless you give the IP address, or let's say this is a new, if you're not covering the whole range, you need to add this new IP address, and that is when this starts scanning. But now when I'm using a passive vulnerability scanner, I know when there is a new system in my network. So the first objective of having a network security, having a network discovery system is achieved. Anytime there is a new system in the network, I have a data transfer between that and a gateway. I know there is a new system, right? Okay. Second objective, continuous vulnerability scanning. So I can see what systems are in, I can see what kind of services are being accessed, I can see who is accessing that service. Right now I have a complete picture of what is happening right now in my network, not against, what is the problem we discussed in the regular scan? That we have a posture during the time of scan, not continuous posture. So when we run a scan, we know what is it. But what happens after that is out of our control. But when you have a passive vulnerability scanner, which is continuously monitoring for all your network traffic, you know your security posture, your view of security is always continuous, always current. That objective is achieved by a passive vulnerability scanner, right? And the third issue that we were discussing about regular vulnerability assessments is when you do a continuous scan, you always increase the network traffic. Now, are we having any traffic here generated? We have absolutely no traffic generated during a passive scan. And since it's just monitoring existing traffic, you have absolutely zero load on your networks. That is what will give you a zero load and a continuous security awareness, right? So this just addresses one point of our vulnerability list. That is the technical vulnerabilities, right? Does it, or is there anything else that we missed? Right. So these are two new concepts that people have been talking about in the last couple of years, and we also know, we just discussed, patching windows is not a vulnerability management solution anymore. We have a lot of applications that are hosted, the services that we provide to clients that are vulnerable, and these are entry points into my network. People don't just crack $1 million firewall and then get into your organization. It's foolishness. Nobody would spend so much time on that. The easiest way to get into a network is through an application or service that you already host, or through a client-side attack, wherein things like phishing and other client-side attacks can be taken advantage of. Another problem escalates when you have something like CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous development. In a traditional way, in a traditional methodology of hosting an application, you develop it, you test it, and then you deploy it. But what you have right now is you're already deploying the one that is developed. It is continuously developed, tested, and deployed. Until and unless you have a solution, until and unless you have necessary test cases covered in your CI/CD environment for specific to security, your continuous vulnerability management is not completed. In addition to your existing network scans, this is an additional activity that you are supposed to do. Okay. Third, should I call it a problem? Maybe you can tell me. How many of you are moving to cloud? How many of you have already moved to cloud? Right. So, what's your strategy? How do you manage? How do you find, scan vulnerabilities and fix vulnerabilities in cloud? My network, it's my network. I don't have to take permissions. I can run any scan anytime. I can fix anything my way. But then when things move to cloud, this is a new challenge. I do not own the hosting environment, right? I always have to go take a permission with somebody else. But then one false, let's say, okay. One thing that we generally observe when we are scanning cloud environments is that it gives us a false sense of trust. Just because their firewall blocks all ports and then allows only that port that your application is hosted, we think, yes, okay, nobody can access my particular hosted co-located server there. But then how many times have you considered the test case where this is a shared facility? There are other systems hosted by the same cloud environment in that environment, right? There are hundreds and thousands of other clients in that same environment. But what if one of them is compromised, or what if one of them is trying to attack your network? How many of your test cases would actually cover that as part of your cloud security assessment? We have a lot of side channel attacks, people bypassing virtualization technologies, people coming out of exploits that bring you out of hypervisor and give you direct access to the other VMs, your neighbors, right? But do we actually cover these in our regular vulnerability management programs? This is also supposed to be included in. So these are some challenges. These are some regular challenges that we face in terms of having a very effective vulnerability management program. That is, first thing, ineffective change management. Obviously, yes, I have to fix my vulnerability, which could be anything, which could be a configuration change, which could be a patch, which could be installation of a new control. But then how effective are my change management procedures? Okay, by effectiveness, it is not just ensuring that only approved changes are installed, it is also ensuring that changes are installed in time. I've seen 70% of my customers have proper, very strong change management control in place, but then by the time they pass through all the approval steps, they already have a vulnerability that is published, and people are already exploiting these vulnerabilities. So having an ineffective change management is always a problem for your vulnerability management, continuous vulnerability management, virtualization technologies, people coming out of exploits that bring you out of hypervisor and give you direct access to the other VMs, your neighbors, right? But do we actually cover these in our regular vulnerability management programs? This is also supposed to be included in. So these are some challenges. These are some regular challenges that we face in terms of having a very effective vulnerability management program. That is, first thing, ineffective change management. Obviously, yes, I have to fix my vulnerability, which could be anything, which could be a configuration change, which could be a patch, which could be installation of a new control. But then how effective are my change management procedures? Okay, by effectiveness, it is not just ensuring that only approved changes are installed, it is also ensuring that changes are installed in time. I've seen 70% of my customers have proper, very strong change management control in place, but then by the time they pass through all the approval steps, they already have a vulnerability that is published and people are already exploiting these vulnerabilities. So having an ineffective change management is always a problem for your vulnerability management, continuous vulnerability management, randomly growing when there are new systems every day. These things have to be included in your plan. These things have to be scanned in your vulnerability management programs. Yeah. Third one we already discussed, the heavy usage is due to the scanners. Right. So before we conclude, these are some quick pointers that you are expected to take back. One, always identify and prioritize your assets. Second, perform automated scans. Okay. Again, I always prefer a passive scanner instead of an active scanner. If you can afford it, that would always be a first priority. Third thing is always perform authenticated scans. How many of you actually perform authenticated scans in your VA programs? How many of you don't? Okay, how many of you not aware if this is done in the organization or not? Okay. So the advantage of using an authenticated scan, obviously you will not create an admin user and then use that to scan your networks. But then having an authenticated scan with a limited privilege user will always give you better view into your networks. Generally, a lot of vulnerability scanners have agent. Okay, there is an agent that is sitting on the desktop or server, and then it gives you continuous feedback on what is happening in there. But then that is always not possible. So for active scanners, you always prefer to have an authenticated scan wherein it can actively log into your systems, identify what are services running inside your box, which may not be directly exposed, which may not respond to other active scans, but then only when you log in, get into your systems, you will get a proper picture of your vulnerabilities. Ensure automated patch management. How many of you have automated patch management systems in your organization? Okay, but do they support all kind of operating systems? How many of you have a true heterogeneous network? Like, how many of you just work on Windows? Do you only have Windows? Do you only or Linux, or do you have a heterogeneous network? Only Windows. How many of your organizations have multiple operating systems in their networks? Okay, how many of you think automated patch management systems actually work for you? Right? So these things work when you have one single operating system across your network, but then you need to have an automated patch management system that supports all your operating systems. Next one is the first point that we discussed. You need to perform a risk assessment, identify all your entry points into the network, and then plan your vulnerability management program. Last one is, always remember, can you read the statement?
Vulnerabilities are not required.
Vulnerabilities are not proprietary to Windows, not Microsoft proprietary. All your operating systems, all your applications, in-house developed, off the shelf, all of them have vulnerabilities. Do not assume that because I have Linux, because I have Mac, because I have a in-house developed application, or I have something developed by any huge organization. Do not assume that they do not have vulnerabilities. These are generic flaws. These can exist across any organization, any application. Right? Only when you have all these considerations in place, only when you have a team, enough resources to dedicatedly monitor and fix these vulnerabilities, you will have a proper continuous vulnerability assessment possibilities. Any questions? I think we have 5 minutes. I would not advocate any tools as of now, but any questions other than tools, specific tools, process-related questions, we can answer it. Good. I think we're done. Thank you.
Thanks for the insights, right? Just to summarize a few pointers which Sujay has touched upon, right? Key on the vulnerability assessment, what are the various list of vulnerabilities need to be covered. And the continuous vulnerability management, that really interests me part of it, right? How do we do on a continuous basis do this vulnerability assessments part of it? And I think the next point he was talking about the passive and the automated part of it, right? And predominantly how the automation and automated vulnerability patch tools, right? How difficult it is to implement, whereas a passive thing is really helps us out. And also he touched upon the bottlenecks part of it, right? I think this is where every organization goes through it, right? How do we overcome that bottlenecks and how do we escalate on the timely basis as well? It's pretty important. Thanks, Vijay, for that insights, right? So I invite I invite Shiva Joshua to come down and just a token of appreciation for and so ideally now we've got some time and let us do a quick break for lunch. Okay, I think let us break for the lunch and post that we have a very interesting topics coming. 45 minutes is the break time. Thank you.